there was this terrible murder that occurred in Idaho, claimed the lives of 4 young people. There are no real suspects here, and some people have been named as potential people of interest. One of them being a former, who's being described by friends of one of the victims, stalker of one of the victims. Okay, so this is another kid who goes to the University of Idaho who's there on campus, and he's been deemed a stalker. But he was claiming that he's being persecuted because he is a well-known member of the incel community on the campus there, and that he's not a stalker, and as a matter of fact, he has no interest in girls because he's an incel, and they're not interested in him, and he has, some very strong misogynistic takes about women, Now, you and I, we've heard the phrase, it's a modern term. Wasn't around when we were younger. Do you know what it stands for?
I'm assuming involuntarily celibate?
Yeah, involuntarily celibate. And this is, to the best of my understanding, a growing and popular collection of mostly online groups and people who get together online who are young men who cannot get with girls. That's their entire brand. I happen to know somebody who identifies. I believe that's the terminology of the day. I know somebody who identifies as an incel. And this is not a friend of mine, or this is not anybody that I know socially, but it's a person who I know from another friend of mine's radio show.
You wouldn't have an issue with hanging out with an incel socially, would you?
Yeah, probably.
Would you?
Yeah, because that just sounds like, well, I don't know. Let's get to know Scotty. This is, Scotty is a bit of a spokesperson for the incels. So, Scotty, thank you for being on Mansplaining.
Hi. Yeah, I'm the admin of a Reddit group called IncelOL, and I'm sort of the spokesperson for that. And we just want to put the message out there that just because a few guys do crazy things and call themselves incels doesn't mean we're all bad guys. And most of us are fun-loving guys and not crazy murderers. Just like when a Muslim commits a terror attack, you don't blame all Muslims. So just kind of speaking out for my community the same way.
All right. So the group that you moderate is IncelOL. Very
clever. Yep.
Look at you. The incel community with a little bit of wit there. Can you explain to us,
that's my first question: is what defines someone as an incel? What are the defining characteristics that make you an incel?
You have to want to have sex, but you haven't had sex, so not like children or asexuals, people that don't want to have sex. It's a different thing. People that can have sex because they had a medical procedure. That's different. Part of the incel problem is not only have you not actually had sex, but you never had the acceptance of someone willing to do that.
So is every incel a virgin, or could you have had sex at some point, but that's just petered out or whatever, and now you're an incel? Or if you've had sex, you can't be an incel?
Basically, if you've had sex, you're not. So even if you're with a prostitute, that still counts. You're no longer an incel. A lot of us don't like that avenue. I'm one of them. I haven't seen a prostitute. I'm not one of the extreme incels. There's different levels. And so I've kissed a girl, but if you've never kissed a girl, you're what's called an NBK.
What is it called?
NBK, never been kissed.
Okay.
And those are the extreme incels. And really, that's where the violence comes from, because some guys are socially awkward and have just been repulsive. That some people are ugly, and girls never liked them, period. They've never been kissed. And that's where the angry part comes from. Most of it is just young guys, and they eventually get out of it. They find someone, usually when guys start making money, their fortunes turn around, and most guys by 25 or 30 are out of it.
Okay, so how old are you, Scotty?
I'm 34.
34. Okay, so you're an original gangsta in the incel community, and you are a virgin, right?
Yeah, and in our community, 35 is called Over the Cliff, and if the statistics show that if you haven't had sex by 35, you're statistically likely to never.
It's like incel menudo. At 35, you've got to leave the community. They replace you with somebody new.
No. I think he's saying that if you're 35, you're likely in the community for life.
Oh. Well,
because statistically, you're less likely at that point to find someone who wants to sleep with you.
Okay, so you are 34 years old. Why do you think that you are a 34-year-old virgin? I mean, again, I've heard you on another radio show, and you're talking to us here now like a normal person. You don't sound terribly objectionable in the small sample size that we have here. Why do you think it is that you are a 34-year-old virgin?
One reason that makes me such a good spokesperson is I check so many of the boxes, and there's different reasons why men are unattractive. So if you're short, check. Fat, check. Bald, check.
You're describing me. Aside from the short part, you're basically describing me. So these are you. You're describing.
Also an introvert.
Okay.
I'm socially awkward. I don't speak well. That's okay. I type well. That's why my group does good.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, so most incels are striving to not be incels anymore.
All of them.
So my understanding of it, which I mean, it seems to me to be a point of pride with these people that they can't get it. You know, it seems like a lot.
Doesn't sound like it.
We have no get. Well, it doesn't sound like it from Scotty, but I mean, I've read some things and I've done a little bit of a research, onto what this. It seems to me. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, isn't there a point of pride among some in the community that if they don't want me, then I don't want them, or is it it's all they drop everything for just one girl to pay attention to them? That's what you're telling me.
Well, it sounds like they're sort of owning this category that they've been put in involuntarily. They're taking ownership of it.
Okay.
And at least accepting that that's what they are for the moment.
Taking ownership of it.
Yeah. Am I wrong on this?
Part of what my group offers is alternatives. We hang out, have socials. We go to the arcades and bars and, give a sense of community until hopefully a guy gets lucky.
Oh, okay.
Leaves. We hope everyone gets lucky and leaves. And we just kind of cheer each other on through the process.
And then you lose all your friends. You lose all your incel friends. You go to a bar and they start getting lucky. They're out of the group, right? And then they never come back to the next meeting. How are you going to have dues? Who's going to...
Well,
you hope they never come back.
Can you relate to this at all, Pugs?
Not at all.
Because I've got to tell you, I can.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I've got to...
Well, because we've talked about this a little bit on the show, and I can tell you that, like through high school and the beginning of college, I would have qualified for this because I was celibate, not by choice. No one was interested in... There was no one interested in sleeping with me. There just wasn't at that point. So
sad.
Yeah. So I said, look. So when I started college, I was 5'4".
Really?
Yeah, I'm 6 feet now. I grew 6 inches my first year of college.
Wow.
And my appearance completely changed.
Wow.
And so I remember, like in high school, there were no girls interested in me whatsoever.
Okay. But we're not talking about high school people. We're talking about people.
Well,
men in their 20s.
I didn't know that this was going to change, and I felt at that time that I don't think there was going to be anyone interested in me.
Really?
I can totally relate to this feeling. At least, younger me at that point could. And I can sort of understand this feeling.
Are you a never been kissed? Did you say that? Did I miss that?
I have been kissed. I kissed one girl in high school, one girl in college.
Look at that pride, the pride in the way you said that. That's awesome.
It means a lot.
Yeah, I guess it does. I mean, you would like to have sex, right? You have to be curious. It has to be.
I would definitely.
So what is your problem with prostitutes? What's your problem with an escort? By the time you get to be 34 years old, I don't understand what you're doing here. I got very little compassion for you.
Look.
Really?
That might be my only way out. I am thinking about it. That's not my preference. I would rather it be, voluntary, not by thought.
Yeah.
I would like
I can understand that too, because I can see the prostitute thing at least to experience what sex
Just
is
get it out of
like.
the way.
It doesn't sound like the issue is lack of experience with sex. It sounds like lack of available sexual partners to gain that experience.
Okay,
with.
now let's talk about that. The lack of availability. Are we talking about? I mean, what are you stationed up at Ice Station Zebra?
No.
I mean, or
I work.
hold on. Are your standards too high?
No, look, I work in IT with a bunch of guys in a warehouse. I'm an atheist, so I can't go the church route to meet girls.
Well, you can't.
You could.
You could. I mean, if you really wanted it. And that's my whole thing. It doesn't sound like you're trying hard enough. It sounds to me like in a lot of these cases, maybe you could hook up with women, you could have relationship with women, but maybe your standards are too high. Like you are.
Show me where to sign up. Show me where to sign up. I would do it.
There seems to be an air of entitlement here about how you're angry. Not you, because you're actually a pretty
I'm not getting that at all. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about in general, the incel movement. He's a very
bitterness.
Well, but I imagine
there's
the
a bitterness
incel
based out of entitlement that I think they feel they should be able to get some without putting in any of the legwork.
I think maybe you're associating with the incel movement online, which is much like other social movements online that are a lot more belligerent and aggressive than real life people are.
Okay, yeah.
So that might be part of it
I bet
too.
this dude's got some blogs that would spin our heads. He's being very nice now, but I bet you've written some stuff, Scotty. In fact, I know that you have. I mean, this is okay.
Well, it sounds to me like the pain for these guys is very real, right? How would you feel if your every interaction with women was unsuccessful in the way that you want to be? At some point, a lot of people are going to get bitter.
But bitter, and just keep trying. So you just keep trying. Move on to the next one. There's a lot of girls out there. I asked.
They're not just after the physical, superficial part of sex, though. He said this earlier, Pugs. He said, what we crave is the acceptance, the willingness of somebody to consent to that because they have those feelings for him. That's what they want. They want the whole package.
Well, let me ask you something. When you guys get together as a group, is there an element of it of group development in terms of developing the skills that will help you not be an incel? Do you guys, or is that like frowned on in the incel community?
And isn't there a similar group of girls who feel the same way that you guys can get?
That's what I've been waiting to ask.
There's girls,
but they're not pretty enough.
Well, they're few and far between. We're talking unicorns.
I don't believe that.
In Dallas, there's probably like 6 that will admit to it.
Oh, to admit to it.
Oh,
I would believe it. It's
Well, the community serves a purpose to help people really get out. It's like the opposite of the crabs in a bucket. So, if a member of our Reddit group wants to go on a weight loss binge, we encourage him. We show them some accountability. Usually, the easiest way out of it is you get a high income, and that's not a joke. That really is.
That hurts my heart.
It's true. No, you're right.
Really, once you get to 6 figures, there's no such thing as an incel that's making 150.
It's not only that. It's not only the amount. It's about being gainfully employed and enjoying what you do that gives you a sense of confidence in all of your interactions with people in and out of work. That's if you are gainfully employed doing something you love to do.
Well, it sounds like a lot of these guys are gainfully employed. That doesn't.
Well, but you don't just have to be rich. I think you have to be happy. You have to be happy in order to go out there and take a bunch of swings at girls who are going to, not be interested in you and then move on to the next. The idea that you're a 34-year-old virgin is just, I can't wrap my mind around it.
I don't know. Obviously, I didn't experience this for very long in my life. From 16 to 21 or so, I could certainly understand the feeling of like things are never going to change. Women just aren't interested.
Scotty,
and they weren't. So I can understand this. And I'm trying to wrap my head around what it would feel like to be like that for like a decade.
I'm a pandemic virgin. I haven't had sex with a woman since the pandemic. I mean, I could very easily be an incel. You know, look at me. I'm heavy. I'm overweight. I'm old. You know, all that. I've never had.
That's the difference.
And that is what I don't understand. Why doesn't everybody have the ability to just talk to someone?
Not everyone does. I mean, for some people, it's very difficult.
I know. I'm coming to understand that.
No, you're not even close. You've been married. You have a kid. Your lineage lives on.
He's saying what Pugs is saying is that physically he could see himself being that. Like it could have gone this route.
I could see girls not being interested in me, but I worked at it. You know.
I didn't choose to be 5'5". I didn't choose to be bald.
Yeah, I'm bald.
I am kind of fat.
I'm fat.
I have low income.
Low income. I'm all of these things. I'm checking the boxes. Look, Scotty, we got to move on. We're running late. I appreciate you coming on and being willing to talk to us about this. Scotty the Incel. From time to time.
Reddit group, Incel OL.
Incel OL Reddit group. All right, there you have it. We learned a little something about what being an incel is. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. It's Mansplaining. We've got some time for more calls. 214-787-1971. That's 214-787-1971.